Everyone saw the tattoos, but no one knew the sacrifice behind them. On this channel, we uncover real American stories where ordinary lives hide extraordinary truths, stories that silence rooms and redefine respect forever. At a Navy SEAL auxiliary training facility on the California coast, a special conditioning session was underway. Civilians were allowed to observe from the sidelines, watching elite trainees push their limits. Among the observers stood a quiet man in work boots, holding a cleaning cart, blending into the background without drawing attention. His name was Mark Hale, a 38-year-old single father employed as a base janitor. What set him apart were the tattoos covering his arms and neck. Faded eagles, military dates, coordinates, and names inked in worn black lines. To some trainees, the tattoos looked excessive, almost theatrical, sparking curious glances and muted laughter. A few young SEAL candidates whispered jokes, assuming Mark was another civilian trying to look tough. One even muttered that the tattoos looked copied from movies. Their amusement grew as Mark calmly wiped the floor nearby, never reacting, never looking up, his expression steady and unreadable. An instructor eventually noticed the whispers and smirked. In a half-joking tone, he asked Mark if the tattoos were meant to impress someone. The room chuckled softly. Mark paused, met the instructor's eyes briefly, and offered a polite smile before returning to his work without answering. That silence only fueled more assumptions. To them, Mark was just a worker playing dress-up with ink. No one questioned why he stood with perfect posture, or why his gaze instinctively followed every drill with precise understanding. No one noticed how naturally he timed each movement in his head. As the session continued, Mark remained where he was, unnoticed and underestimated. His tattoos told stories no one bothered to read. To the room, they were decoration. To Mark, they were memories, heavy, permanent, and earned through moments that would never make the news or history books. The heavy training room suddenly grew still when a senior Navy officer entered. His boots stopped mid-step, as his eyes locked onto the tattoos on Mark's arms. The confident expression on his face faded into shock, then recognition, as if he were staring at a ghost from a past he never expected to see again. He walked closer, studying the ink carefully, dates, symbols, unit markings hidden in plain sight. His voice lowered as he spoke a single call sign under his breath. Mark stiffened slightly, finally lifting his eyes. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them, and the air shifted. The officer turned to the room, his voice firm and clear. He explained that the tattoos were not decoration. Each one marked a classified operation, a fallen teammate, or a rescue mission never acknowledged publicly. The names weren't random. They were men who never made it home. Whispers of laughter were replaced by absolute silence. Trainees stood frozen as the officer revealed that Mark had served in a Tier 1 Navy SEAL unit for over a decade. Missions across hostile territories, operations erased from records, and sacrifices buried under secrecy were etched into his skin. Mark finally spoke, his voice calm but heavy. He explained he left active duty after his wife was killed in a car accident, choosing to raise his young son himself. The janitor job kept him close to the base, close to the life he once lived, without dragging his child back into it. He said the tattoos were reminders, not trophies. Each one carried a promise that his brothers would not be forgotten, even if the world never knew their names. He didn't want praise, recognition, or apologies, only respect for those who never returned. The room remained silent long after the officer finished speaking. Every trainee stood straighter. The jokes, the judgment, the assumptions, all of it vanished. In their place was understanding. That day, everyone learned that some heroes don't wear uniforms anymore, but they still carry the weight of service every single day.